Juke Joint. It's your new comic coming out. Looks absolutely amazing. I love the art and like everything that's going on. Would you like to tell readers a little bit about it?
Oh, wow. Juke Joint I wrote Juke Joint in 2015, and it's best described as American Horror Story Coven meets Law and Order SVU. So think if Olivia Benson was a black woman, and instead of locking up these criminals every single episode, she kills them. So that's basically Juke Joint, mixed with, some voodoo and a sex brothel and some jazz. Yeah.
One of the things that I found interesting is actually the inclusion of Afro-Caribbean traditions and rituals. Now, how much research went into this and how much is strictly fiction?
Some is fiction, but I definitely did a lot of research. I was in New Orleans, June, I believe, and I was inside the voodoo shops. I did the tour for Marie Laveau, who Mahalia's sort of kind of based off of her, along with some other voodoo goddesses. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I did it properly and not just, throw the tropes in. But yeah, I hope I did a good job. I do.
Bingo Love actually came out pretty recently as well. Now, you went from something like Bingo Love, which is really warm and heartfelt and so sweet, and you switched over to Juke Joint, which is a little darker with like heavier content. What does it take to like have that kind of switch in, in story structures and mindsets? Like, how does that work?
Well, first off, my first published book was in Nailbiter issue 27, and it was a horror story. So I killed somebody. I killed a couple of people actually in that book. So I went from horror to romance, and then from romance back to horror. But I had written Juke Joint in 2015, so that was just sitting on the back burner. And, Bingo Love came out. I wrote it last year, but I didn't want to be known as like a one-trick pony, like she only writes romance. I was starting to get offers, and it was just romance, 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 romance. And I was like, I wanted to do it, right? But it's like, I'm more than just a romance writer, right? There's nothing wrong with romance, but I wanted to do something. I wanted my next book to be something else that wasn't just romance, because then I felt like I would be stuck in just doing nothing but romance books. And it's like, no, I have more stories to tell than just romance. I wrote a science fiction book, I wrote a magic story. So I've got the range, I'm not just kissy kissy lovey dovey, even though in Juke Joint there is some kissy sex going on. As soon as you open a book, first page is like, damn, titties on titties on titties. So it's a little bit of romance in there, yeah, just a smidge with some blood on it, but no big deal, just bodily fluids.
Juke Joint is actually also a really deep comic. It's not just like all these things that we're talking about.
Right.
And I know as the reader, I get to kind of make up the meaning of the story as I read it and interpret it. If you were going to convey one message to readers through it, like directly, what would it be?
That you are not alone. If I can get one person who has gone through or is going through a domestic violence situation, and they read what's going on, and then they realize they have to get out of that situation, I would be happy. I would not care if there are no more books sold. Because as a domestic violence survivor, I didn't know that I could leave, right? I didn't know that it wasn't my fault. I didn't know any of that. So if somebody is reading this and they're going through it, if they know that it's not their fault and they're not alone and that they can leave, that just would mean everything and more to me. Like, this book is, yes, it's a bloody horror book, but it's a book about a woman who is going through it. And this book could flop for all I care, but if one person can get out of that situation, that means more to me than anything. So you're not alone, and it is not your fault, and you can leave. That would be the message.
For a bit of a topic change, for something a little lighter, I know that you've also are going to release the Bingo Love, the Jackpot Edition. What can readers expect from the Jackpot Edition that they can't get from the original?
Well, Gail Simone turns Mari and Hazel into superheroes, so that is pretty cool. You have Mari and Hazel get tested before they have sex for the first time. They go to Planned Parenthood and they get tested for HIV, HPV, all the STDs. And we discuss how important getting tested is. We also discuss safe sex. There's a scene where the doctor has, we talk about dental dams and condoms and lubrication. And it's, even though this is a comic, it's a real situation, so that also, I don't know, there's a lot of again, beautiful, fun stuff, but I wanted to make it educational as well. There's also, let's see, what can I say? In The Secret Story by Sean Pryor and Paulina Ganchow, the poop hits the fan and the family does not respond well to the dad's secret. It's very rough. There's 160 pages, and the hardcover is by Katie Cook and the softcover is by Paulina Ganchow. It's amazing. Plus we have I think it's 16 pages of Bingo Love Volume 2, which comes out in 2020. So that is pretty cool, and you get to see things from Mari's point of view. I don't understand why, topics like that isn't discussed in comics, but, if you can make it a fun, cool way, maybe readers will be like, you know what, maybe I should probably go and get tested, So, I don't know. I do things differently. I think outside the box, and I add stuff that normally wouldn't be in comics, like grandmas.